To be interesting, be interested. Ask questions that other persons will enjoy answering. Encourage them to talk about themselves and their accomplishments. Remember that the people you are talking to are 100 times more interested in themselves and their wants and problems than they are in you and your problems.
Yes,
Can you talk about
100%
that?
agree. Yes. So first, let's talk about How to Win Friends and Influence People for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
That was a fundamental book. So many people have read it. The funny thing about books like that, it's very helpful, but a lot of those books are extroverts writing about their social skills. And that is very hard if you're not an extrovert. I'm not an extrovert. I'm an ambivert, so I'm somewhere in between. If you're an extrovert writing about communication and people skills, you're basically telling introverts, I want you to pretend to be an extrovert. Right? You're basically telling people, I want you to fake being outgoing, and that's going to make you likable. And so I want to just say that, yes, I love some of the principles in there, but I do not think that you have to fake being an extrovert or fake being outgoing to be liked. Charisma is not about being extroverted. Charisma is about being interested. And that's the part of the quote that I really like. So to be interesting, you be interested. Let's break that down on how that works. So actually the way that I always read that advice, by the way, I remember reading that book at like 13 or 14, my deep awkward stage, hoping for something. And I remember thinking, what does that mean? Like, how do I do that? So here's how you do it, is research has found that when we produce dopamine in conversation, it actually makes you more memorable. So this is research from Dr. John Medina. And what he found is that dopamine also does a lot of things in our body, but it's the chemical of motivation. It's the chemical of pleasure and excitement. And when you're asked about things that make you feel excited, you actually produce dopamine and you create what are called mental markers. Dr. Medina calls them mental post-it notes. That you're with someone and they ask you a dopamine-worthy question, your brain goes, ooh, this person makes me feel good. I'm going to remember them. So when you produce dopamine in a conversation, people are more likely to remember your name. They're more likely to remember you. So how do we produce dopamine? You literally use dopamine triggering words.
Such as?
So instead of, and if we can do a challenge, do not ask, what do you do anymore?
Totally agree. Yes.
When you ask someone, what do you do? You're asking their brain to stay asleep. You're basically saying, I want you to stay on autopilot and answer the same question you've answered 1,000 times before. And also, what do you do is really asking, what are you worth?
Yeah.
I think it's actually a little bit of an offensive question. So if we're going to get rid of it, what are we going to replace it with? What you want to replace it with are things that someone defines themselves by that get them excited. So, working on anything exciting recently. That's a very, very simple swap, but it allows someone to say, am I working on anything exciting? And they can answer with work or they can answer with pleasure. You can also ask, have any personal passion projects? Right? Are you looking forward to any big projects coming up? Looking forward to is a dopamine word. Excited, working on anything exciting, is a dopamine word. Have any personal passion projects is a dopamine word. So all we're doing is we're trying to sub out autopilot questions for dopamine producing questions.
I love it. So I've turned that question around. When someone asks me, what do you do?
Yes.
I'm usually like, what I love to do. I really love to snowboard. What do you love to do?
Yes.
And like that just creates a completely different conversation.
So what do you love to do? Working on any personal passion projects? Working on anything exciting? Have any fun projects coming up? There's 4 that we can replace. Let's also replace, how are you? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, if you ask someone, how are you? Here's the answer you're going to get. So how are you? Busy. Good, but busy. Is that not the answer that everyone gives every time? So no more how are you. Instead, ask what's good.
Yeah.
Right? Like that simple swap, asking a brain what's good, they literally are searching for good.
Yeah.
You're literally flipping them into gratitude in a very simple 2-word question. So on my team calls, we had team calls every Tuesday. I noticed at the very beginning of the team call, there was like this awkward, very, very smart people. They prep for an interview or negotiation or a presentation, and they prep their ideas. They want their ideas to be amazing, right? They're pitching to their boss or their team. They have their dream job, and they're like, I have to have the perfect answer. And so they script out the perfect answer. And they go in there and they're blindsided. They don't know why. They're giving the perfect answers, but people are on their computer checking their email. They're not getting any nods or any smiles or any leans. They're not seeing any of those warmth cues, and they're like, what's going on? And that's just like Jamie Siminoff. If you are smart, you might run into this problem where people underestimate you and your ideas because you are not delivering them with the right competence and warmth.
There was a study I discovered right around this time. This is done by Dr. Van Sloan. He wanted to know what makes popular kids popular. Very clever study. He studied thousands of high school students across a variety of high schools looking for patterns. Why is it that some kids across these grades and ages are really popular? He had all the kids ranked across all these schools. He had them looked at traits, and then he guessed what made the popular kids popular. Were they more athletic? Were they more attractive? Were they funnier? Were they smarter? What was it? He found that the most popular kids, across the one single variable that was held true across all the different students, was the most popular kids had the longest list of people they liked. So when he asked, one of the questions of the survey was, who do you like? They had the longest lists. And when he looked at their day-to-day, they had micro moments of liking. They would go down the hallway and be like, hey, Chad, hey, Chelsea, hey, Sarah. They liked so many people, and that in turn made them more likable. Dr. Richard Wiseman did a study. He asked people to perceive their own luck. How lucky do you feel? Then he gave them a challenge. He gave them a newspaper. And he said, I want you to count the amount of images in this newspaper. They sat with the newspaper and they counted all the images, but there was a trick. On the second page of the newspaper, in big print, it said, stop counting. There are 42 images in this newspaper. Almost all of the people who perceived themselves as lucky saw the ad, closed the paper, and gave it back. There are 42 images. Almost none of the unlucky people did. The unlucky people missed the ad and kept counting, spent a lot of time, and made more mistakes. This means that if you think of yourself as lucky, you literally see more opportunities. If you think of yourself as unlucky, you miss them.
Can you give us surprising, silent, charismatic cues that will help someone command respect?
So the most important one is mirroring, because when we really like someone, when we're on the same page with them, what research has found is that we subconsciously mirror their nonverbal. So if they're leaning in, you're leaning in. If they're nodding their head a lot, you nod your head a lot.
Okay.
The second one is an eyebrow raise. So an eyebrow raise is a universal gesture of, I'm listening, I'm open, tell me more. I'm gonna say specifically mirroring empathy. So if you see someone in authentic happiness, you should be mirroring that happiness back to them. So if you see someone who's in sadness, you can mirror that sadness by showing that empathy. You are literally saying, I care about you so much that I want to take on the emotional burden with you. Also, the research finds that...
Oh, and there's more?
Oh, there's more.
You can stop awkward greetings from happening with simple nonverbal cues. Here's what they are. You want a handshake? So good to see you. I want you to be doing this from 10 feet away. So good to see you.
I'll come in with it.
Yeah, this immediately signals their brain, don't try to give me an awkward hug. Don't side hug me, don't hug me, we're handshaking. If you want a hug and you're a hugger, it's so good to see you, it's so good to see you.
Arms out.
And that's also gonna prevent the awkward side hug. The worst thing you can do is like this, one arm up. People are like, ooh, do I shake it? Do I side hug? Are we gonna hug? Are we gonna high five? Are we gonna fist bump? If you want a fist bump, you're coming in with a fist bump.
Oh, those numbers, the weather, sorry, I'm late. It was very awkward start. I was like, no more. So we start every team call with tell me something good. And we all save our tell me something good of some mini sort of small success that we can all share. And that ritual has also helped. So if you have a team call or a date or a text thread or a friend group where you can start to sub out the how are ya, how's it been going, with tell me something good, let's celebrate a win, you're literally giving people dopamine that helps them feel more motivated.
Yeah, I love that. I got we do minimalist.org, which is like these little meetup groups that we've set up in some of the cities. And I have a call this Saturday with all the community leaders. And I usually do like a check-in question where I'm like, tell me how you are 1 to 10, and then I'll have a question. That's going to be my question this Saturday. Yeah, tell me something good.
Oh, yes, I love it. And I want you to pay attention to the cues that you see. So it's funny, when you ask someone an autopilot question, they stay asleep.
Yeah.
Right? They often half lid. They half lid, like they close their eyes. It's like, oh God, this is boring. They usually go down, like they sag their chest down. If you ask someone something good, they go up. They go, oh, and their eyebrows go up. Right? When our eyebrows go up, that's a universal sign of warmth. They often will go up in their vocal power. Oh, because they're actually thinking and questioning themselves. They often will sit up straighter. Oh, and then they pull their shoulders back and down. So even that has a physiological change.